Do you feel like you're pouring absolutely everything you've got into your team, but you are not seeing engagement, productivity, or any effectiveness? Well, the problem might not be your effort. It could be your boundaries. Today, we're going to dive into 3 crucial signs that there may be a little issue with your boundaries in your leadership and how you can overcome them. If you're thinking, what are you talking about? What are boundaries? Well, it is that invisible and often unspoken line between you, your behavior, and your team. It's that little line that is so easy to cross that can tip you from being a respected professional leader into being seen as a confidant, a friend, another peer, which is very damaging to your leadership. It can impact accountability, respect, trust, loyalty, and the effectiveness of your team. So, here are 3 key signs that you might have just crossed the line and how you can fix it. Sign number 1, you are always available, even when you know you shouldn't be. Think late night emails, weekend texts, and that feeling of always being on. A team member texts you on Friday night, "Oh, just so I don't forget, can you remind me that on Monday I really want to talk to you about my application for that conference?" And you reply straight away, despite the fact that you're sitting down for dinner with your family, with, "Of course, that is going to be so great for your development." And then the texts continue on, despite it being Friday night, despite you having a family, or a life, or just the fact that you're not paid and you're not at work. And not to mention that it isn't even urgent. And they're just basically dumping their need onto you and giving you the responsibility of reminding them about doing an application for a conference that they want to attend. This is very much a boundary lapse in more than one respect. By replying straight away, you are showing that you are willing and available to chat with them, and you're happy to receive such messages after hours. Now, you can also be the one that contributes to this too, if you are initiating the contact. So be aware of it. If it isn't urgent or necessary, I would not be communicating with my team outside of work. While the responsiveness is good and may feel like you're doing the right thing, constant availability is blurring the lines. It also impacts your team member as they're not disconnecting either. Why are they even thinking about a conference and a discussion for Monday on a Friday night? This is probably a red flag that there's something going on there where that boundary has been blurred and everyone is feeling it. Sign number 2 is that you take on too much, including things that are not your responsibility. Are you constantly jumping in to help with tasks that your team are trying to complete? Do you find yourself doing their work to meet the deadline? The previous example kind of slips into this one as well. By responding to that text and agreeing to talk to them on Monday, you're effectively taking the responsibility of remembering to follow up with them about their application. So taking on too much can include taking on the responsibility of others. They don't need you to remind them to do something. They need to do it and remember themselves. Taking on too much can also take the form of not delegating, trying to do everything yourself rather than requesting that your team take on some responsibility. Perhaps you hear them talking about how busy they are and how much they have on their plate. So you decide not to ask them to support with a project that was going to fit squarely within their responsibilities. Or they're struggling with their work and you offer to take on tasks to support them. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't help your team. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just saying be very aware of how often you might be helping people and how often you might not be delegating because you think your team's overloaded. It might feel helpful in the short term, but in the long term, it actually disempowers your team. They don't learn, they don't grow, and they might actually be offloading tasks onto you because they know you're just going to do it for them. You then become a bit of a bottleneck because you can't get anything effectively finished. Delegating is not task dumping. Being a leader requires you to assign work to others. So I'm not talking about giving out your own responsibilities. I've done a video on the importance of delegation and how to effectively do it if you want to watch that linked on your screen. Sign number 3 is that you avoid difficult conversations. Whether it's addressing underperformance, giving constructive criticism, or saying no to unreasonable requests, constantly shying away from the tough talk creates a breeding ground for resentment and unresolved issues. If you fall into this camp, you might want to take a minute to think about the why. Why are you avoiding difficult conversations? Why aren't you pulling people up on behaviour that you know is inappropriate? Are you worried about what people are going to think of you? Are you concerned that giving constructive criticism is going to lead to defensiveness or tears? If you aren't addressing issues with your team and you're just letting them slide, avoiding them, or making up excuses in your head as to why you don't need to deal with them, it's a pretty big red flag that you have a bit of a challenge with this particular boundary. Boundaries aren't just about protecting your time, they're about clearly setting expectations and holding people to account. Avoiding these conversations leads to ambiguity, lower standards, and gradually lowers performance of the team, as if people see that you're not prepared to call people up on behaviour or performance. What's the point? What's the point of them all trying so hard if you're not actually going to deal with it when they're not? If you recognise yourself in any of these signs, it's time to evaluate your boundaries. I'm currently working on a new tool to help support leaders with putting in place really good, clear boundaries with their team, and particularly to avoid that becoming friends with staff trap. So you can easily navigate that fine line between supporting your team and maintaining professional distance. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, just comment in the video, or you can sign up so you're the first to hear about it on the Leadership with Nikki website. And check out the video linked on your screen for why being friends with staff is the fastest way to kill leadership authority. And thanks very much for watching.